good morning and good afternoon wherever you are. This is Dena Tollefson and welcome to my studio. I'm so glad to have you here with me today. Today is going to be an awesome, fun live stream and I'm so glad you're here. I'm going to be introducing a new art technique called Waxism. And so Waxism is the idea of taking acrylic paint, making an acrylic painting, and then melting wax crayons over the top. And so I have a whole bunch of art supplies that I've received from Crayola, and I've got some here signature acrylic paint set in these beautiful tins, and pearlescent acrylic paint in these beautiful tins. And I also have a crayon melter and a whole bunch of crayons, and I'm so excited to show you. I'm going to be demonstrating how to make a fun and colorful little gecko. And this is going to be just a great live stream. So if you are new to my channel, welcome, and I hope that you'll ring the subscription bell. And if you've come back before, thank you for coming back, and I'm so glad to have you here. So let me check that, set up the computer here so that if you're chatting, I can see you on screen. And then if you want to, whoops, I got a little frog in my throat here. Let me get a little water. There, so if you would like to stay silent in the chat, that's great. And if you'd like to say hello and chat along with me, I would love to interact with you. All right, so let me set this chat up. There we go. All right, very good. So the supplies used today are acrylic paints, and I've got a pearlescent paint and the acrylic signature paint from Crayola. Crayola is moving into a market of not just beginner artists or student artists, they're moving into the more serious artist and category, and they have these paints. They come in these beautiful little tins, and I've got some already on my Stay Wet palette. So let me grab my palette, and I've got a sketch of the gecko that I'm going to be making. Let me grab my Stay Wet palette here, and I'll show you what we've got in here. So the Stay Wet palette, what's really nice about this is this keeps your acrylic paint at the right level of moisture at all times when you're working, which is really convenient. So I have this set of colors here, and I need to add a little bit more. So I'm going to add a little bit more of the yellow. And how you open these is you have to pierce the back the first time with the back side of the, like that. You have to pierce the back of the lid to get it open. Just get a little of this yellow going here. This is the golden yellow. And get that lid back on. And then I'll get a little bit more of the white out here also. And, oh, hey, I see that Joy is on, and Joe Legg, hey, welcome, you two. And I see other people are on as well, and hello to everyone who is here, and I'm really glad to have you guys. So let me add a little bit of this green. So these colors that are here that I'm using today, this is the Tropical Rainforest, that's this one here. And then this beautiful blue is the Sky Blue. And I'll just put the container over here. And then this is this one was the, yeah, okay, this is the aqua green. And then this purple is Purple Mountain Majesty. And then over here, this looks like, I bet this one was the yellow. Is that the yellow ochre? No, that's brown. Let's see. Oh, tan. Okay, so this is the tan color here. And then this blue, this darker blue, is denim. That's a kind of a great blue. And so what I'll be making is the thing, and let me check and see what you guys are saying. Oh, and Dana, hey, good morning, Dana, good to see you. And oh, hey, Joe, I'm so happy that your dental work went well. Oh my gosh, you know, after, I know we were all a little bit worried after what had happened you know, what I had gone through before. I was hoping that everything went well with you. So that's wonderful. I'm glad to hear that. Oh, that's a relief. It's a relief and a good thing. Excellent. Okay, so let's get a little bit of green also over here mixed in with this yellow for our gecko. So I'm going to be making the gecko I want to make. He is a colorful little guy, and I learned some about geckos in preparation for this. I went and did a little research on geckos, and the gecko that I'd like to make today is going to be the Gold Dust Day gecko. Kind of a neat name, but what's different about this gecko is that he is diurnal, meaning that he's awake during the day. And a lot of geckos are awake typically at night. So people will keep these geckos as pets because of that, because they're awake and active during the day. So I've got a little bit of water here. I'll just dip I mixed up some color, but we can start painting now. I've sketched out my gecko here, and this is just a little canvas board. This is a Blick 11 by 14 canvas board. And then I've got my guy drawn out here. So let's get started painting. And you know what I think I'll do is let me get this so you can see the paint a little closer. There we go. All right, so I'm going to take some of this green I mixed up with the yellow and the green. And let's just start painting him in. And and you're asking where did I get the reference? Okay, and an H7 Opolo. Hey, good to see you, and I like your minerals thing you did for the Green Gold Challenge. And oh my goodness, there's my mother, Helen Schaefer. So hey Mama, good to see you. Okay, so you had asked where I got the reference. So what I did is I went on to Pixabay, which is a free reference, free references for photos, and you can use that in artwork, but there's no attribution needed because it's all copyright free. And what happened was I could not find a gecko, my Gold Dust Day gecko, in the right pose. And so what I did is I had actually 3 reference photos that I used. So I had one for the pose, and I had one for his coloration, and then I had one that I used for his like a close-up view to really understand his anatomy. So this is my first time, my first go with this gecko. I did a practice of him yesterday and for the thumbnail, and I really enjoyed painting him. So let's get, I need to mix up some more paint. So I'll show you how I'll do that. Let me grab a little bit more of the yellow. And actually, you know what? Let me squeeze a little bit more of the yellow on with the tube. Let's get our yellow back out. And this is my first time also using the Crayola acrylics, and when I was playing around with them to do some testing, I found that they seem to be quite nice. The colors are nice and rich, and they go on to the canvas very easily. So the dark colors are not as dark as some like super premium brands, but these middle colors seem to be really excellent. All right, and so, and hey, Chrissy, good to see you. Glad to see all of you guys. I hope that you all got a chance to watch. I know a lot of you participated in the Green Gold Challenge. This color I'm mixing actually feels, maybe that's why I wanted to do a gecko in this color. I've kind of got green gold on my mind. But actually, you know what I might even do is let me turn him this way. Let's turn our gecko this way, and then I can put the paint over here. That'll be easier to reach. So let's do that. Let's get the paint right here. Can you see that? That's better. Okay, so let's do this. All right, so let's get this guy going. And so what I liked about this particular gecko is that he has a lot of different colors, and he is super bright and kind of some happy colors. He has a lot of blue in his body, and he has yellow and green, and then he's got kind of these like pink colors, which are neat too. So up along his little snout area is a lighter color. And this gecko likes to eat crickets, and he likes to eat mealworms, and he also, apparently his favorite food to eat is baby food, pureed baby food or pureed fruit. But they warn you for these gold dust day geckos that they're supposed to be really nice pets, but if you do get one, they say that you have to be careful because if you give him the baby food all the time, you're supposed to be normally giving him mostly the mealworms. But if you give him baby food too much, then he's gonna get a little portly. So he has to, because I guess he just loves the baby food and he's gonna go crazy with it. So if you're gonna have one as a pet, you have to really focus him on the protein sources, which would be, I guess, the mealworms and the crickets. All right, and so, oh, and let's check the chat here. And, oh, and Mushy Bear, hi Mushy, and good to see you. Glad that you're here. Okay, so let's get a little bit more in the tail. Now, one thing about this particular lizard is he has got kind of a blue color on the edge of his tail. So I'm going to take a little bit of this, what was this one called? This was the, let's see here. I'm going to take some of these two colors. This was the sky blue and the aqua green. And I'll put a little bit of that along his tail. And also this will help us to start developing some sense of dimensionality. If you guys have ever had a gecko or a lizard as a pet, let me know in the chat. I'm curious to know what your impressions were, and how did you like it, and were they good pets for you, and that type of thing. My brother-in-law, Dena Tollefson, is he's really big into, he's a herpetologist, but he's a biology guy. He teaches biology in high school, and he's done a lot with the Kansas, I want to say it's like a herpetology society, something like that, but he goes out and always is looking for reptiles and that kind of thing. Okay, so let's get a bit of color going here. And, okay, so Dana, you're asking, oh, Mushy, and you say that oh, yes, Mushy, I loved your green and gold challenge painting. You had the circle with the green, and then you had a cliff, and then a girl sitting on the cliff. Yes, I love that. You should definitely do more paintings. Absolutely. And so Dana, you're asking, is green gold and chartreuse the same thing? Well, they can be. Yeah. Now, it depends on the company that makes. I mean, some companies will make actually green gold, and if Ian were on, he would be able to tell us, because he's done a lot of research on that. But I think of green gold as really I think of green gold as really like any kind of a green that's a bright yellowy green. And but some people are more strict about their interpretation of it. So it's, and I'm going to just mix up a little bit of a green using some black and some of our yellow. But so this, I would call this a green gold here too, Dana. This is more closer to, I guess, what I would think of as a sap green. But this green gold absolutely could be, you know, he's definitely a green gold also. Okay, so let's get a little bit of, again, just thinking about starting to put some dimensionality in our gecko. We'll get some of these greens going here, and then also on the body. So I'm just doing a layering process of layering these colors. When you see them actually on the lizard, they are really bright colors. So we're gonna get kind of a mix of shadows and highlights and that type of thing here. And I'm just blocking in the color. What we'll then do is just blacking in the basic colors. And then what I'll do is go back in and add some detail. So, oh, and Madonna. Hi, Madonna. And good to see you. Okay, so now let's mix up a little bit of some blue for his legs. So this lizard has got blue, a lot of blue coloration. And let's get some color going here on his leg. And we'll darken that later. I want to start out light. And just a little bit over here on this leg, this leg that's facing us, but it starts, his body has green, and then the green kind of just goes on the front legs right into the yellowy green, but the colors kind of blend and move in together. And then as we get to the feet, then the little pads and the paws, I guess, I don't know if you call them pads or paws. It's probably pad. I don't know. I guess I'm used to more mammals. And then in the back here, the legs are quite a bit darker. So let's start in, and the legs are blue. This is just a really pretty little lizard in nature. And maybe that's why people like to have them as pets too, because they're super colorful. They say if you get the gold dust day gecko as a pet, what you're supposed to do is put them in like a terrarium, aquarium kind of a setup, not with water, but like with plants and such. And you're not supposed to really hold them, because this particular fella is like a nervous guy, and he can be like, let's see here, I looked up, he can live 5 to 8 years in captivity, but he's not very big. And he also is nervous, and so he doesn't like to be, he's nervous if he's held. And so he's better off if he just sits in his environment and does his thing. Okay, so these legs here. Oh, Whimsy Creek, good to see you, Megan. Yeah, everything does go really fast. Helen Schaefer's my mama, so absolutely it does go fast. And Juliet McNeil. Hey, Julia, good to see you. Yes, my mother she had her first ever video that she did, and she did her first ever video for the Green Gold Challenge. So if you haven't already seen all of the videos, or if you haven't yet subscribed to my mother, I would appreciate if you do give my mother a little love. She's starting out her channel. I want to encourage her to do more videos, and she's thinking about what her next video is going to be. So if you have ideas on what you'd like her to paint, then let her know in the chat. All right, so I'm going to switch now to a smaller brush. So I've been using this number 10 American Painter filbert, and a filbert is basically a flat brush with rounded edges. I'm going to rinse out and then grab a little bit of fresh water here. And I appreciate everybody that's here. And if you've written something to me and I don't see it on the chat right away, I will see it for sure afterwards in the replay, because I do go back and watch and read everything that you say. And I appreciate your likes, and I appreciate your shares and your wonderful comments. So, okay, so let's see. And let's see. Oh, Costel Adone. Hey, good to see you, and thank you. And Angie, Angela Rarrett, and Sylvia D, my sunflower Sylvia. Good to see you guys, and I appreciate that you're here. And so today what we're doing is a new technique, and I was thinking, what are we going to call this technique? So people do encaustic, and this is what we're going to be doing is I'm doing the underpainting in acrylics, and then what we'll do is I'm going to take the Crayola Crayon melter, and I'm going to be adding texture to the top of the painting in a mixed media technique. So my husband, Bill Tollefson, he came up with, I said, oh, we need a name for, what are we going to call this technique? Because I do a Taoism technique, but that's paint on paint. And this is really a mixed media thing because this is wax on top of acrylic. And so he said, well, why don't we call it Waxism? So I love that, and that kind of stuck. So we can call this technique Waxism for the wax that, the wax overlay over the top of the acrylic paint. So Crayola has shown these things where they're doing a melted crayon over just a plain surface, wood, glass, paper, cardboard, panels like this, foam core, but they haven't really done anything where they're doing a painting and then wax on top. So I'm pretty excited about this concept. And this is going to be, my painting is going to be, or paintings, I'm doing a collaboration with Crayola. So they reached out to me through Instagram, and how this worked is they reached out to me in a direct message on Instagram through my Instagram account, and they asked if I would want to do a collaboration, and I said, oh my gosh, absolutely, yes. And so they said that they're going to do what they're calling an Instagram takeover. So they'll be featuring my work on the week of May, it should be the week of May 20th on their Crayola.com, on their Instagram, official Instagram page. And then there'll be like 10 to 12, something like that, photos and short videos talking about me and my work and using the Crayola product. And I am just beyond thrilled and honored and delighted to be able to be part of this collaboration. So this little gecko that you see that we're painting here today, I think I'm going to be sending this one also to Crayola for the Instagram takeover. One thing I love about these geckos is they have these characteristic feet that are like, they have like these little tips on the end, or big tips, these pads. And the way that they attach themselves, they can cling to all these different surfaces. And they have these, I think these are really pretty, these little balls, how these things work. So let me check and see what you guys are up to in the chat here. And oh yeah, I'm so excited too, Dana, this technique. I'm really having a lot of fun with this. Yeah, Bill did a good job, didn't he? I tell you, he is a keeper. He is really, he is so good. All right, and then our brushes. Unlike our brushes. Oh, somebody said something about brushes. No taped up brushes. Oh, yeah, I try not to have, if the brush is getting long in the tooth, then it's got to go. It's donated or it's gone, because I like to have, if the brush, I want the brush to always be in good shape. I did have a brush just actually yesterday where it came off, like that thing where it comes disassembled from the ferrule, came away from the wood piece. And so I am going to take a little bit of E6000 adhesive, and that one looks like it's not cracked or anything. I can just go ahead and glue that guy back on because the actual brush is in good shape. But yeah, sometimes, you know, these older brushes, if they get old, sometimes they're really nice to keep them because you can use them for different effects. You know, dry brush effects and that kind of thing. Sometimes a kind of a scraggly looking brush can be good for that. So, okay, now he has a, I'm going to go ahead and also, now that we've got just some general colors blocked in for him, what we can do now. Oh, Sylvia, you have a gecko tattooed on one of your ankles. Oh my goodness. Yeah. And then Julie, you say that you destroy brushes. Yeah. You know, that's the thing is painting can be very hard on brushes. So I'm going to take a little bit of white. So there is a kind of like an eye ring type of an effect around his eye. So let me get that put in, and it's blue. It's like a light blue and white eye ring. So I'll just use this little small round brush. This is a number 3 Low Cornell. And let's get some white right up around there as well. And he also has a, this is a number, let's see, what is this? A number 6 Filbert from American Painter. He has there's a highlight that is coming right along here, along his mouth and cheek. And I don't know, and if I've got the anatomy wrong and calling things the wrong body parts, anybody that is a gecko person, I apologize if I don't have the right anatomy listed or mentioned. But right along here, he has some light bits here, so we'll get that in there now. And then there's also some light up on top of his, and I'm going to call them thighs, but I don't know if they're actually like a thigh, the back leg. So I'll just kind of scumble this on top of the base color. And then over here, he has a darker green. So I need to make a green. I'm going to take a little bit of this color here and add a little bit of white. And let's add a little bit of yellow. And I'll just mix this lightly with my brush. I'm looking for kind of a bright green that's brighter than this green, and I can see that I need a little bit more of the dark green in here. There we go. All right, so let's get this over here and paint the top of his head. So there's an angle that we need to get on the top of Mr. Gecko's head. Like so. Just nice and easy. And because that's what I do really like about this kind of rainbow colored gecko, is he does have so many different colors. The trick of doing, you know, when you work on an animal and if they have a lot of different colors, sometimes it can be tricky to paint just the light versus the dark. But let's get some, so this brighter green needs to go up around the eye area. And back behind here, behind the top part of his head. And again, just layering what we've got. And then down in here, there's a darker area on his body. So let's start to put in some of these shadows and build up the idea of volume on our little guy. So this blue is, I mix this with that denim blue, and then what is that green again? This is the tropical rainforest green. So I just mix those two together, and we'll use that to establish this darker area. And let's check the chat and see what you guys are up to here. Okay, oh, and Pencil is here. Oh, good to see you, my friend. And I love, if you guys got a chance, Pencil's, he did he made some characters for the Green Gold Challenge. So one was like drilling in for the gold, and then another one was, they were the actual gold nuggets, but just super fun. And Okay, and so let me change this over here. Whoops, I had my computer wants to sleep. Let me get it back there. There we go. Okay, all right. So let's get in shading this guy. So he has some dark, he has the light bit over here, and then we can shade his body here and shade all the way through up it, and I'm just going to dip the brush right into the water just so that the paint will flow easily. And so the light source is coming from over here. So I want to introduce some shadow in the body of our little gecko. So here the light is coming along here. And then here we have shadow on this side as well. And then in this part of the body, I don't know if you call that his waistline or what you call it, but there's a narrowing, and then the tail comes out a little bit thicker again. So I want to make sure that we have that anatomically correct on our gecko and his little belly. He's been eating some of that pureed baby food, I think. So he's got a little bit of a belly, but we don't want to have a skinny gecko because that wouldn't be fun. All right, and then I can get a little bit, let me turn the painting this way. And let's get this area in shadow going like that. And then his front legs go up over here. So we want to show that the body is doing this kind of a thing. And just kind of dry brushing this over here. And then this dark color, the shadow, can go all along here as well. And that's what's nice about acrylic paint is since it dries so quickly, you can do your layering, you know, just very one layer right on top of the other. And it's easy to do the layering. Let's get those brushes moved over here. Okay, so now in the tail area. Oh my goodness. Hey Mando, good to see you. And I'm so glad that you're here. So Mando said, did you see my link? You sent a comment with your video. Oh, okay. Yes. All right. So Mando and I have a project going on. So, so Mando, I will look at that afterwards. And yeah, I'm excited to see that. All right. So let's work on the tail a little bit. And then what we can also do is a little bit of shading on these blue legs. So back behind here. And for those of you who have not yet subscribed to Mando's channel, she is an amazing artist. She does a lot of digital painting. She does traditional painting, digital painting. But she's a lot of fun and just an overall wonderful person. She really understands about light and shadow and does a really great job with that in her work. So let's start to establish a little bit of the shading here in his arm. His arm, I guess it would be his front leg, his left front leg. That, and now let me just blend that a little bit. I'll just take to blend it. I can just take a clean brush and just tease that color and just run it across lightly to give that a little blend. And let's also think about a shadow that might be being cast by our gecko onto the surface. And oh, you meant the green gold one. Yeah, okay. Well, hey, green gold, people are still uploading green gold paintings. And so, yeah, if you have one, absolutely get it out there. And I will get those put on the playlist. And some people will be doing it even up to a week late. And that's okay. That's no problem because not everybody, some people had computer problems, some people were sick, that kind of thing. So no problem to do it later. All right, so I'm just going to take a little bit of gray that I mixed with the white and the black, and establishing a shadow area or a darker area over here that he's going to cast onto the surface. And his tail is going to be up a little bit. So we're going to have his tail do something like a little curve in here. And then over here, his tail is coming across and forming part of this shadow. And I think the shadows are important to get if you're thinking about, an animal sitting on a surface of something, where they're casting a shadow, where there's a little bit of shadow here. You want to think about be sure to include that if you can in your work, because a little bit of shadow there. And then what we can do is and there's a shadow here. All right, so now I'll go in and take black, straight black, and then come up closer to the edge. So we have the dark, or that light gray, and then I'll just put an even darker edge of black all along the body area here, and I'm leaving that little edge of gray so that it's kind of a subtle thing, but this little edge of gray will be the edge of the shadow, because the edge of the shadow is always soft when you have something like this. And so I don't want it to just be just a harsh black line. By having it be a little bit softened by that other gray, then that makes a nice transition. All right, and then the black will go also along here, and then along there, a little bit here. There we go. And there, okay. All right, so let's check the chat and see what you guys are up to here. Okay, and so, oh, Julia, yes, will you please do one? Absolutely. And I see Art Life is here. And also, if I've missed saying hello to anybody, I apologize, and I will be seeing you when I check the chat then again later after the live stream. And so Rachel is here. Hi, Rachel. Good to see you. You guys are wonderful. So let's talk a little bit about, let's get some blue, do some more layering and some more shading. So I'm going to put this blue, the denim blue, straight from the tube here. Let's get the back of he's got a very powerful, we'll call it a thigh. I don't know if this is a thigh or not on a gecko, but let's call that a thigh. And then this is kind of dark all the way in through here. And then it's dark here as well, right up where it meets with the body. I see I've put the dark a little too far, so what I'll do is just wipe some of that back down, like that. There we go. And just a little blend with that. And now we can get a little bit of dark here as well. And then as that leg comes down, this part of the leg also is dark. And this part as well. And then we can come in with the filbert brush again. And actually I'll use a larger brush. It's always best if you can, try and use a larger brush than you think you need. This is a number 12 American Painter. And gecko thighs. Yeah, I don't know. Is it a thigh? Is it a, what do you call that part of the gecko? I am not really sure. What I want to do now is take some of the pearlescent paint. So these paints have been the signature acrylic from Crayola, and what we're going to do now is put on some of these are the pearlescent ones. So these were the, where are they here? Right here. So this one, let's see, we had the yellow, the blue, and the green. So that was the pearlescent golden yellow, and then the kind of that lime green is the yellow green, and then this blue one is the sky blue in the pearlescent. So let's get a little bit of the yellow pearlescent, and I'm going to mix that with some white and then put that on the top of his body. Again, just thinking about building up a three-dimensional kind of a feel for our little gecko. Because he has, since he's been eating some of that baby food, his owner couldn't help it and gave him some baby food, or gave him too much of the baby food, and so he now has gotten a little chubby. So we want to see that part of his body where he's kind of chubbing out a little bit, in a good way. He's pleasingly rounded in a healthy way. All right, and then there's also a line, there's a dark ridge, and I don't know if you'd call that his backbone or his spine area, what that is, but I'm going to put the curve on here representing his spine right in through here, just kind of following the line of the body. And then we can blend that, just blend that in. I don't want to have it be, I don't want the line to show as like just a line that's drawn, so every so often I'm just going to go in and soften the edge by just touching it with the brush. And then we'll go back in and a little bit more of the highlight color, and just kind of get that ridge on his body going like that. Okay. And now we can do a little bit more work on him. Let's go ahead and put some more of this bright yellowy green in through his body. Again, we're just doing a bunch of different layerings. And then when this is done, then we'll be ready to start with the Crayola Crayon on top, the melting process. And I'm excited about that. I had never done anything, I've never done encaustics. Put in the chat if you guys have ever worked with encaustics before, or have done that process, or if you've ever used the crayon melter. Would love to hear what your experience is with it. So I was playing around with it yesterday, and it's actually a lot of fun. I'll show you what I did. I did a little practice board, and you make these dots. I was wondering would they come off easily, but you have to really push hard to get a dot off. So you can remove them, but they are hard to do. I had to really push to get that one off. So if I push on this one, let's see if I can pop it off. There we go. It takes quite a bit of effort to get it all the way off. But I did just a fun little, acrylic painting underneath. That was my little practice board. And then from there, wanted to see, could I do a full painting then with it. Okay, so again, now working just to get his, try and get his sense of three-dimensionality going. We'll just keep layering. Add a little water here. And then we'll be ready to start here. We'll fire up the crayon melter, so it has to warm up first. They said on the instructions to plug it in and then to put the crayon in, and then you wait like a minute and a half or something like that. And I was waiting 2 minutes, and I found that way for sure it's melted if I waited that long. All right, and a little bit of dark here on the front of his snout. We'll go back and restate that highlight that is here with a little bit of white. And get a line here, and this white comes up also onto the front of his, I'm going to call it an arm, but I know it must be something else. In Gecko parlance, it must be the front leg or, you know, something like that. Again here with the highlight on the leg, and then over here. Okay, so I think we're going to be ready here now to start our crayon. Let's just do a little more dark. I'm feeling like I really want to build this dark area up, because he does have a nice rounded belly. I want to be able to show that. Just more dark here, over here, onto the tail. And then just blending that out. There we go. Okay, so let me show you now, now that we have our basic form started, and let me check the chat and see what you guys are saying. Dots, that's not the candy. Yeah, the candy dots. It kind of looks tempting, doesn't it? And, okay, and oh, Rachel, they are cute lizards. These little gold dust day geckos are just cute little lizards. So, so Sylvia, you said that you used some wax on a few canvases, and not sure if you can call them encaustic, and you melted Crayola crayons in some art journal pages. And then Megan from Whimsy Creek, you said you melted crayons and poured it into candy molds. Oh, wow. And fun-shaped crayons. Oh my gosh, that sounds neat. That's really neat. Wow. Okay, oh, Madonna. Okay, we can count on Madonna to let us know these things. Madonna, okay, hind limbs. So this must be the hind, I'm calling these the thighs. The hind limb. And then this is the forelimb. Okay, and Joe, you said it twice already. Dina. Oh my goodness. And I apologize. I've been staring here at our gecko, and I didn't see what you had said. So, oh, Pencil, you melted geckos into crabs. Pencil has an obsession with crabs. I love it. I love it. Okay, I'll see something in the chat later. You did, Joe. Okay, so Joe, thank you. Okay, so hind limbs and forelimbs. Excellent. Excellent, you guys. Okay, perfect. All right, so what we'll now do is I want to put some white paint on this also. And what I'll do, though, is let's fire up in the meantime. And Joe, I apologize. I did not see it. And thank you guys for letting me know that, that Joe had said it. Thank you. And you know what? He's got a little bit of blue up on the face. I need to get that on here as well. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to add some white on here, but what we can do now is let's start the crayon melter. Let's fire that guy up, and let's get him going. So I'll move the paint over here, and I actually need to probably put a little more white. Let me get some more white. Let me get some more white on the palette. So this is our white of the signature acrylic, which is not the pearlescent, it's just the regular acrylic. There we go. And set that here. Great. Now I'll show you how to set up the crayon melter. Let me get these out of the way. So what you do is the crayon melter comes in just a couple pieces. I figured out what this tool is. This edge of the tool is what you can use to score the paper, like your crayon. If you have a paper on your crayon, then you score it with this tool, and then you can take your paper off. And this part of the tool you can use in the unfortunate event that you would get like some crusting up in here. You would lift this part up and then you can dig in here, but it's kind of like a Q-tip. They don't want you to go too far in. It's like putting a Q-tip in your ear. You're not supposed to go too far in with this thing. So what it consists of is this is the actual body of the thing, and then there's a stand, and you're always supposed to keep it in the stand when it's not, when it's working. And then here's the transformer and the cord. So you plug the thing in the back, and this is supposed to be for age 8 and older. Or I guess if you're older than 8 and not careful, then you would want to have somebody help you with it. But hopefully you're a careful person, and you're okay. So I'm going to plug this in, and Crayola sent me 2 of these. So I've got 2 crayon melters, and I use both of them because when you put the crayon in, so what you do when you first plug it in is, oopsie, you're going to get this little red thing, and then when it's up to temperature, it will turn green. And then when it's up to temperature, you can put the crayon in at any time, but when it's up to temperature, the idea is that you'll put a segment of crayon in, and then it's going to melt, but it takes about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes to melt each segment. And if you use it too soon, then you get, the crayon doesn't come out as nicely, and it's like kind of, let's say gloppy. It's kind of, well, let's see, what would the word be? It's kind of yucky. It doesn't work well if it's not done that. So, okay, and so let me see here. Check the chat. It does look like a glue gun. Is anyone under 8, or is anyone not careful? They say that you can, and that the crayon, when it melts, you could get it on your clothes, that kind of thing. I'm usually pretty neat and clean when I'm working, so I tend to be careful, so I don't expect any accidents here, but I just did want to say as a disclaimer that it is a heat source. It's supposed to be safe for even children to use, and it's intended as all ages kind of appropriate. So I've got a power cord here. This guy keeps tipping over. So what we're going to do is I'm going to, so I see we're green. I can put the crayon in now. The first one I want to use is this color, and it's not labeled. These crayons come, I've got multiple boxes from Crayola. They sent these 120 crayons and all different sizes, but these little naked crayons, they don't have their wrapper on. I'll take just a tiny amount off, so just a small amount of crayon, just this small amount and I'm just going to stick it in the end here, and you just stick it in, and then I found that if I wiggle it and get it to the front, that's good. The crayon, you don't ever clean the unit out. What you do to remove all the excess is that you'll go in, whoops, now I stuck my finger in the paint. What you do is there we go. There, see, I did make a mess. So what you do is you just wipe it on a paper towel, and then that'll get the extra crayon off, and then you can stick a new piece in. And they have on the instructions that they send along, they talk about how there we go. They talk about the blue later, and I'll show you then how, see, this is how we get rid of all the extra color. Well, I can actually put some more on here. We aren't getting to pink yet. I can put his little pads here. But do you see, you just put these dots on, and what fun is that? You can put small dots, or you can have larger dots. And the crayon will stay, as you can see. So that crayon was from overnight. And now I can see that some of that other color is coming through. So if you see on the paper towel, some of that purpley color is starting to come through, and it mixed with the blue. And now we have this kind of purple color. So you can just let the colors just sit in here, and in the meantime, I want to go ahead and put that white paint around. So while we're just waiting on the crayon melter, let me get that white throughout the painting. So I want to do just some white. I'll take, this is a American Painter 1-inch size. I'll dip it in the water. And let's get our gecko. I just want to get an idea of a white background, and I had some areas of graphite where I had tried to put his body in, his fore limbs and hind limbs, and I had the wrong proportion, so I had to erase, and I'll just go right over that now with the paint, and then nobody will know that I was grappling with my proportion right there. This area was tricky to do on him. And I've got a little bit of white where I don't want it, so I'll just take that and wipe that like here. There we go. And let's check the chat and see what you guys are saying. And okay, so pencil. Dena's voice is so calm, it put the live stream to sleep. Oh, oh my goodness. Yeah, okay, we'll try and do a refresh and see if you get it. That's funny, Pencil. Pencil, you are a very funny guy. Pencil is always very entertaining. And Pencil, I miss your live streams. I wish that you would be able to live stream again soon. All right, let's get some more white here, and then up along what I was calling his thigh, or his hind limb. I think thigh sounds so much better than hind limb. Hind limb sounds kind of just generic, doesn't it? All right, let's get that right up here, and let's get a little bit along the tail. And I assume that the tail is called the tail, or the tail area. Okay, there we go. All right, so now let's do more with the crayon melter. Put this in the water. And it buffered, so you missed the action. Okay, all right, well, I'm sorry it buffered. That's no good. And yeah, the crazy requests. Pencil had these live streams, and they were so fantastic. And he would do really any request that anybody would do. And I know, Pencil, I guess you can do, supposedly there are ways to do it with with fewer subs. Supposedly it is possible to do the live stream. So let's get, now the gecko, the reason I chose a gecko was because they have got these kind of, their skin has got a lot of texture. And you see how easy this crayon melter works. And when I put this on, I'm just dipping it on. I'll hold one up really close to the camera so that you can see when I put this on. Look how I have to hold it straight up, and I am just touching the tip. I'm just touching it. If I hold it down longer, it'll make a bigger dot. See that? But this is how that works. So I'm just holding it, and we just can go dot, 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 and we can make this feeling of our gecko having like a wonderful pebbly kind of a skin, kind of a reptilian and pebbly skin. And these go on, so I do my Daubism technique. I'll say that this goes on faster, much faster than Daubism, because each of these I have to do as an individual paint stroke. And we'll get a couple little marks on here too on his hind limbs, even though I want to call them thighs. And even out here, we'll get a couple of marks just everywhere. Since this kind of green color is kind of the main body color. All right, and then now, but you see that kind of texture is kind of fun, isn't it? And yeah, Sylvia, it is. This crayon melter, I'm like super excited about this darn thing. It's like it makes a whole different kind of a texture. So this color here, this reddish color, this is a metallic crayon, and they had told me, Crayola had told me to be sure to, on the crayon melter, to not use the glitter crayons. So they said that the metallic crayons are fine, but don't use the glitter one because the glitter will tend to clog in the machine. Now this Gold Dust Day Gecko has got an area on his body that has these this kind of red coloration, and it's kind of a mix of different colors. So we'll get this kind of berry colored, this color here. And what I'm going to do now is I don't want any more of this color. I'm going to add another color in. So I'll show you how to get rid of all the extra color that you don't want. So one way would be to do, put it on another project. So I'll just show you like on my little practice board. You see you can make lines. And you can do, whoops, I did it a little, if you did it too fast, then, or if the paint is, not the paint, if the crayon is running out, then what will happen is it'll start to make a kind of a crazy edge. So how you fix that is you wipe it off, and I'll show you what the tip looks like. So the crayon comes out of the tip, and it's kind of like if you've used like a roller ball, kind of a ink pen. It's that kind of idea. So here do you see where it was like gunking up? If I come back now, and I can fill that in. So you can do like entire areas, or you can do little dots of color. But as the color is ending in the machine, you see now it gets down to nothing, and so that's when you know you can add another crayon. So we'll do that now. I'll take this one away, and let's bring our other color in. So the other color that is in the body of our little gecko is kind of this fuchsia color right here. So I'll just take a tiny bit of the crayon, and we'll pop him in here. And I'm trying, the reason I'm using two of these machines is since then I can keep track of what I've got where, but kind of keeping, one set of colors like the pinks and greens and that type of thing or whatever, and then I can keep these other colors here. But now for the green, we can now let's put in a darker green. So we have this kind of limey green. Let's add a darker green, and let's work on our three-dimensionality. I'll just break off a small amount. And I'm gonna now, let's put a little bit more of the green on. And I'm working to get some larger marks and some smaller marks on this Waxism that we're doing. The title that my husband came up with for this technique is Waxism. My husband, Bill, who's really a great guy. We've been married, it'll be 31 years this December. And he is just the most amazing guy. Okay, all right. So now I want to get rid of the rest of the green. So how I'll do that is I'll just go on to here, or I could go on the practice board. Whoops. See, now I keep showing you on the practice board when I'm almost out of crayon. It doesn't work when it's almost out. So there's a little bit left in here. See, now we're out. So now it's time to add the next color. So we'll put this guy away, and we'll put the new green in. And we'll give it a little shake to get it down to the bottom. Okay, and so I'll put a marker here so we know that that's this green, and this is that pink color. Let's see if our pink is ready yet, and it is. Okay, so you can tell it's ready if you give it a little test. I'll show you on the board now. Let me draw. I'll just write my name here. So when it's fully loaded, then the crayon comes out really well, and it dries very, very fast. You can just watch it kind of dry before your eyes. And I'm going to wipe the tip off. And so we'll get a couple of more marks on our little gecko. Let me get the edge of get that really clean. There we go. And now we can put a few more of these marks in this other color, this little brighter color. just right here on this part of the body is where this really beautiful, unusual color is. There we go. Okay, so that's all that we need with this color. So now we can go ahead and get that to the end, and I can see now. You can see when no more crayon comes out on the paper towel, then we know that we've come to the end of that. And so what we can do now is I'm going to put some white in there. And this is a white that I got out of the 120 crayon colors, and then took the paper off. Okay, here's our white. Now, when I was playing around with it yesterday, I noticed that the white did not come out of the machine as easily, so let's see if that happens again today or not. When it did, what I did is I just added more, and I added another color on top to get it to come through. So, okay, so Chrissy, your mother's there, and you have to go to the doctor. Oh, and I hope that everything works out with your digestion things, Chrissy. That's, oh look, I got paint again here. I hope that all works out for you. And maybe you are lactose intolerant. Maybe that's just what it is, and hopefully it's, nothing serious. So we're hoping that all goes well for you, Chrissy. And say hi to your mother, too. Okay, here are a few more paper towels. So now let's check out our green, and this dark green. And let's see. Oh, yeah, it's ready. Okay. So my cords are getting tangled up between these two melters. All right, so the dark green, I can just put these along. And I'm following the underpainting to know where to put which color. So I know that we've got this darker green up here, so let's get some marks up near the front of his face. And also down here near the side of his body, his little rounded body, because he's eating all of the baby food. And then down here as well, near the tail. Over here. But what do you guys think of this? I think this technique is just kind of a lot of fun. And I am like kind of surprised and delighted how easy it is to use this tool and to get this effect. This is a different effect than, so my Daubism that I'm doing with acrylic paint. When I'm working on that, it has a whole different kind of an effect than this crayon on top does. So here, I'll hold this up. Here's what we've got so far, and if I hold him to the side, I don't know if you can see the texture at all. And oh, hey, Gracie is here. Gracie, hi and welcome. Thank you so much, Gracie. And okay, so I'll check the chat and see what you guys are saying here. And so Dana, you're saying, I wonder if I bring these works to an art fair in hot South Louisiana weather, if the picture would melt. I don't know. I guess if the crayon, since it's crayon, if the crayon, like a box of crayons would melt, it takes a lot to get crayons to melt. But yeah, I wonder that too. I suppose it's if encaustic can do well there. I don't know. That's an excellent question. Okay, and then the vibrancy of the colors. Yeah, when the colors are playing one against the other, it is really making kind of a neat effect. So let's check our white here and see. See, now we had all of the pink out, but now when we get the white on, then we've got, okay, so I can get the white. So this white area on him, I want to be sure to play that up. But yeah, that's a good question. What would it do in the Louisiana sun? Dana is from near the New Orleans area. And so it gets hot and muggy there. It does in Iowa here too. but I've never really had crayons, you know, crayons when, I guess I've never really had crayons melt that I'm aware of, but maybe they did and I didn't know it. You know what I mean? Like when the kids were little and they had their crayons and we were playing with their crayons. But I know that you can melt them, of course. That would be a good question. I'm looking at his eye and I want to just go in and make sure that we don't have a gap there. And I want to darken this a little bit. There we go, that's better. Okay, so now let's go in with some dark blue. So I have a dark blue here, or kind of a royal blue. We'll put that in the melter. And we just need a small amount, so I'll break that off and stick that in here. And now this one went in where the white was. So we'll give it a little shake, and then we'll see what we've got. And now the green, we can do a little more green. I think we're getting to the end of the green. So we're at the end of the green. So what I want to do also is I want to put a little bit of a kind of a dark purpley color, or a color to play off of the blue that we have. So there's a dark kind of a purpley blue here. Let's put a small amount of that here where we had our green. Get that in the melter. Give it a shake. And I'll stick that here so we know which color we have where. And the other thing then is, okay, and so Seven Polo said, since the wax is applied to wet paint, the paint is dried and helps glue it to the painting. Yeah, you know what, I would think so. And then Pencil, you're asking, Dena, do you plan on doing another live stream around galleries? Yeah, if that's something, if people are looking for that, absolutely I will. In fact, let me know specific questions and I will do a live stream and address those. That's a great idea, Pencil. And then Sylvia says, you're not sure if Crayola is melting in the hot sun, and you tested it, unfortunately. Okay, not sure that Crayola is melting in the hot sun, you tested it. So you're saying that they do melt or they do not melt? Let us know what they do. I'm curious. Okay, so we're going to get this darker blue right here. But yeah, Pencil, that's a great idea to do another live stream about galleries, and then let me know what specific questions you have, and I'll absolutely do my best to get those answered. Let's add a little bit of the blue here, because we're doing kind of almost a pointillism effect. And along here on the tail, there is also blue on the side of his tail. And the underpainting, I did not put it in, so we can add that now on top for like an effect. And get this blue here. There we go. And we'll get the extra blue off here, like so. There we go. And I'll put the blue crayon away so we know that one's done. And now let's get a little bit of this kind of metallic turquoise color. And let's put that in the melter. Give it a little wiggle. So what we're really doing here now is a layering process. And the more layers, then we have some of the paint showing through, and we have some of the paint is showing through, the texture is going. All right, so here's our kind of purpley blue glitter color. I want to get that along the body here. On the hind limb as well, aka the thigh. Okay, so that's good there. We'll get a little mark there. and get the rest of that out. And then what we need to do now is a little bit of yellow. Had a lot of this purple one. There we go. Here's the end of the purple. Now let's get some bright yellow going. Here's a nice bright yellow. Ooh, goodness. We'll pop him in, give him a shake. There we go, and the little piece of crayon that broke off, we'll just toss that. Okay, so now the turquoise color, while the yellow is heating up, we can get this turquoise color on. And I really like this part of the gecko, these kind of blues turning into turquoise, that type of thing. And I'll check the chat, see what you guys say. Okay. All right, so can we get crayon melters on Amazon? Yeah, I think you can, Gracie. Crayola just shipped them to me, but I'm pretty sure you could. Somebody, if you can just check and see if they offer them. I'm sure that they would offer them on Amazon. Someone can check the chat and let us know if Amazon has the crayon melter. But I know when I was looking at, so Crayola said, let us know what supplies you'd like to work with. And they wanted me to work with the signature acrylic paint. And I took a look at their website, and it had said that it talked about the crayon melter. And I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds fascinating. They said it was like a really big thing for 2018. And I thought, oh my gosh, that sounds like such fun. And wouldn't it be neat to work with that? And do like a combination of acrylic painting and essentially wax texture. And then, they had me make a list of what I was interested in working with, and then they shipped those things and a bunch of other things. So I did an unboxing. If you have a chance to see that or haven't seen that yet, the unboxing of all the products that they sent. They sent wax pastels and paint pens and all kinds of things in addition to these pearlescent paints and these other ones. And my goodness, it's really neat to see what all they have. So let me show you how to use, I'm going to get a crayon. Let's pick a crayon that's going to go with the top of the hind leg. And we'll do that. I'm going to show you how to use how to take the crayon off, the paper off with the little paper stripper that they have. So let's use, I like this silver color. Let's use this silver color, or maybe we'll use gray. Let's see, which is better. I think the silver color, actually I'm looking for a kind of a light colored crayon that is going to be light blue, almost a white. Let's go with the silver. So how this works is you take you score, set him up here, you take this little tool, and then, and what you do is you basically run it over the crayon like this, and it takes the paper and puts a line in the paper, scores the paper, and then you can just peel the paper off like so. And what they ask you to do is they say make sure that if there's any kind of, oftentimes the crayon, the paper is adhered with a little bit of adhesive, and so they want you to make sure all of the adhesive that's on the paper is off. So how I did it with the white is I just wiped it like this, and it seemed to take it all off. So let's just break a little bit of the silver crayon off. We'll set him here, and then pop that in our melter, give a wiggle, and now on the yellow should be ready. Okay, so Sylvia will let us know. Okay, it's the only way to have Crayola supplies in Europe. Oh, that's interesting. And Sylvia, aren't you from France? I want to say that you're French. I think you are. Vive la France. So what we've got here is the yellow is still mixing with a little bit of that kind of purple color, and it's making a wonderful purpley greeny yellow. And so rather than, I actually like what that's doing, so I'm going to put that on the canvas here. And then as we get to the brighter yellow starts coming through, we'll put that more towards the center of our animal. You guys, we should name our gecko. Do you have any ideas for names for what we want to call him? My husband knew I was going to make a gecko today, and so he said, how about Gordon Gecko from the movie? There was a movie back in the 80s or 90s. I'm trying to remember what it was, what year, but there was a character, I think it was the movie Wall Street, I believe is what it was. But there was a kind of a bad character, and his name was Gordon Gecko. But we want our gecko to be a nice gecko and have a friendly, good name, right? So maybe he can have a name we can pick out here today. All right, so here's this yellow, and the yellow is here we go, whoopsie, sorry about that, flailing the camera around. All right, so now we have, let's see if our silver is up and working. Oh yeah, I think it is. Okay, that's good. So let's get a little of the silver on his legs, his hind legs, and then we'll put a little bit up here as well. There we go. But I want to just try and follow the underpainting in some areas and then add a bit of just fun and whimsy in other areas, like Whimsy Creek, right? And we'll make a couple of them so that they protrude out so we can see that he's got a lot of texture on his body. Like that, there we go. All right, so let's get a couple more marks up here with the yellow. And we'll see how he's looking. So it would be satisfying to pet this little guy. Yeah, he would be. I agree. French fries are wonderful. Okay, the effects of the gecko with the crayon melter. I do too. And you know, smell a crayon here. We'll give a little sniff of a crayon. So, all right, I feel like what I want to do now is go ahead and sign the painting. And I want to put him, do we have any ideas for him? Gordon the Gecko, but do we have Wiggles? Oh, Wiggles is cute, and I like Wiggles for his name. That's really cute. What are the other ideas? So Sylvia, your gecko tattoo, you've named him Adelante or Adelante. How would you say that in French? Adelante or Adelante, meaning always moving forward. So do they smell when they're hot? I'm gonna stick, all right, I'm gonna stick my nose up in here and smell. They smell about the same, Gracie. They don't seem to smell any different, but it's that wonderful, pleasing crayon smell. Oh my goodness. All right, so let me get our acrylic paint back out, and it's just been sitting here. Since it's been sitting in my Stay Wet palette, which is just keeps this damp and cool, all of the paints, nothing is skinned over because it's all kept at the right humidity level. Let's reach over here and get a brush. I'm looking for a liner brush. So a liner brush is a small round brush with extra long things so you can write with it. Here's a liner right here. This is an American Painter #1 liner. And what I'll do now is I'll grab my water. I've got some fresh water here. Grab our little bucket of water, and I'll dip into the black paint and just get a thin mixture of black going. And I want to sign it so that he could be either, you know, this way. He can either be portrait or he can be landscape orientation. So I'm going to sign my name actually like right along here. And it's always important to sign your name whenever you finish your work. to show that you feel it's done. Well, and I hope that you guys have enjoyed watching this Waxism demonstration. And I hope that you'll come back and see me again. And I really appreciate your subscribing and your likes. And I really appreciate that you guys are here visiting in the studio. And I think you're wonderful. And I thank you for joining. So until next time, this is Dena Tollefson, and all my best to you. Bye-bye. Oh, and you're also asking, when do I do live streams? Tuesdays and Fridays, 10 a.m. Central, which is 3 p.m. GMT. All right, you guys, take care, and love you guys. Bye-bye.